okay, I didn't accomplish it right now. Is this something I really want to do? I know I'm going to accomplish it, just a matter of when. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. I just got to keep at it. You got to keep hammering that granite until it cracks.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
And so now your whole approach is different.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I don't think it's just one single answer to that question.
Like this stuff you don't get. I mean, you don't get this in school. You don't get this in school.
No, you don't.
This is a lifetime experience coming through from Casey here. Yo, what is up, everybody? This is the End-to-End Podcast, and I am your host, Dr. Young Win, affectionately known as the Prolific Ninja, and I want all my fans to be my friends. You can call me Ninja too. This is the End-to-End Podcast, the alpha to the omega, the beginning to the end, talking about life, motivation, entrepreneurship, success, self-improvement, and offering you morsels in this all-you-can-eat buffet called life. Back in the studio, as you can see, we're continuing to improve our set. Have a very, very, very special episode for you today. But for those of you new to the show, just want to let you know that I always begin each show like I begin my day, and that is with gratitude. So I want to thank everybody out there that's been helping, support, sharing, commenting, liking the show, the reels on all our Insta platforms, social media platforms. And if you're new, you can always follow us on all platforms at N2N Podcast. But I want to thank you all for sharing the show, because as you all, if you're new to the show, I have no sponsors. So I do the show on my dime, on my time. So the only way we can grow the show and meet our mission, which is to inspire billions of lives across the planet in a positive way, is if you share the show. And so I like to say, if your knowledge swole, share the show. That's how we grow. So if you find value in this show or any other episode, please do share the show. That's the only way we can grow. Our trajectory continues to go up in terms of growth and followers and views. So I want to say thank you to all of you out there. Now, again, if you're new to the show, there's three types of shows. One is where I just kind of do a stream of consciousness, 5 to 20 minutes of just talking about a topic about success, about self-improvement, and how to get better. A second episode is where we do prolific Q&A. Prolific Ninja, prolific Q&A. Audience asks me a couple questions, and I try to answer them the best I can, hopefully to provide value for you. And the third type of show is where I bring on a guest, and where we do an interview about somebody who shares a great message of inspiration, success, drive, entrepreneurship, just a wealth of knowledge. And that is the episode we have today. So today, I'm very, very, very happy to bring on a very special guy. Actually, a new relationship to me, but when I met him, man, it was just like we just connected, and I'll get into that a little bit. And he is a senior vice president of development for Competitive Choice, 14 years managing national accounts and business development and sales. Also, and probably more importantly, the founder and executive director of No Excuses Foundation, a nonprofit here in Houston that covers nationwide in providing youth scholarship and education and advancement. But also known to me as the commish. And why is that? Because he is the commissioner of the No Excuses Pro Basketball League based out of Houston, Texas, a pro-am league bringing professional sports and entertainment and sports and entertainment to the Houston community, hopefully to go nationwide. But I want to welcome to the show none other than Mr. Casey Williams. How are you, man? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you.
Yeah,
glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me, man.
I mentioned, and this is a lesson for you all out there, real quick. Like I said, this relationship is new. But when we first conversed over the phone, it was just like, okay, we knew right away. And two things about that I want to share with the audience is, one, Casey reached out to me out of the blue. We had no connection.
No connection.
No
Zero.
connection at all. He didn't know me. I didn't know him. It was just a DM on Instagram. Mm-hmm. I followed the No Excuses Professional League account, but when he reached out, I was like, well, let me just see what what we got here. So we connected on the phone. He didn't know what I was about. I didn't know what he was about. But the second thing, and I talk about this a lot, is values, right? Relationships are established around shared values, most importantly. You could be doing two directly separate industries that have no relation, but if the individuals share common values, it's easy to grow that relationship. So the lesson out there is, do not be afraid to just reach out. Now, this guy, because I've seen him operate now, because I call him a professional bullshit sniffer because he's seen so much of it. But you don't become a national account sales director for 14 years, vice president of business development for a large company without being able to get out of your comfort zone and just reach out to somebody. You never know what's going to happen. But glad to have you on the show, man. Just super stoked to be here with you. Before we get into kind of the things you've learned along the way as a business development director, but also as the commissioner of the No Excuses Pro League, just kind of give the audience a little bit about your background, like where you grew up.
Well, I'm a Houstonian. Again, really excited to be here. Thank you for having me again.
For sure.
I'm a Houstonian. I know there are a lot of transplants in Houston, and city continues to grow. And it's like not that there's not enough already, but we're very welcoming and come one, come all, right? But I'm one of the ones who was born and raised in Houston, Texas. Grew up in Northeast Houston, out the 59 Little York area. I went to, elementary school at Farmwood, Oak Village Middle School, Smiley, and then Cashmere High School, senior high school. And, my upbringing was, I'd say, tough. Tough upbringing. And I say that kind of reluctantly because I'm a happy person, man. And so even no matter what the environment, and I think we all can realize that we're yet blessed. And so that's always been my mindset. But if I had to be honest, it was a lot of challenges. And but I've always had a mindset and a strong desire. My sister and I actually talk about that, to strive, to compete, to grow, to improve.
Yeah.
And with that, no matter what I was doing, and I don't want to paint the picture as though I've always done those things, but it was always in me. It was always a part of my DNA.
Yeah.
At times, however, I did lack purpose, but I've always was driven, and I don't know if you can understand that.
Yeah.
And so that's a little bit about me. After school, I went off to college, and I got accepted into a very prestigious HBCU called Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee. But I've been playing ball up there because I didn't play college basketball. I didn't play high school basketball.
Oh, wow.
Didn't know that. Did not play high school basketball.
Okay.
I was a late bloomer. Didn't start playing the game of basketball until I was 16. But I was always an athlete. I played football, ran track, and every different things like that. But I started playing basketball at 16 years old. Never had played before. And when I started playing, it was like, wow, my God, what is this? And I honestly, because you play football, everybody watch, you play cornerback. You play cornerback, and you go sit down and watch the offense play a lot of times. You know what I mean? So just the interaction, just constant interaction from offense to defense, it was constant. Yeah. I think that really pulled me in. And I think I had a little bit of what we called ADD back then. So I would get bored, sitting on the bench. But by it being so constant, I had an innate ability to really be able to focus and hone in on an opponent. And that was just one of the most amazing things I've ever felt in my life. So I took a liking, obviously, to basketball, and ultimately ended up getting a scholarship to Trevecca University, which is also in Nashville. Someone just randomly saw me playing and had assumed that I already played somewhere.
Okay.
And that's how I ended up playing basketball at Trevecca University.
That's you covered a lot of distance there, man.
Yeah.
Just want to unpack a few things related to that because I think your brief story about your upbringing can be shared by a lot of people in our audience.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to unpack that a little bit. So you mentioned you grew up with some challenges. Like, can you give a couple examples? Like, sort of, was it the neighborhood, your surrounding, just financial, your parents? Like, kind of.
Well, first of all, my mom, man, she's out on vacation now in Canada. She's crazy. But I'm very close to my mom. But we grew up. I had a stepdad. He's the only dad I knew. He had been with my mom since I was 1, right? But I'm the youngest of 3. I had an older brother and an older sister. And I have a half brother through my stepdad, who I'm still very close with as well. And I say half brother because blood, but
Yeah.
we grew up together. And we're really close. But my stepdad was probably like a monster. My stepdad would abuse my mom. I would hear him beating my mom through the walls at night.
Okay.
Abuse my sister.
Okay.
Sexually abuse my sister. Put my brother out. I talked to my brother. He'll probably be calling me soon. He's in jail. Been in jail for about 28 of the last 30 years.
Wow.
He took the brunt of it, being the oldest.
Okay.
It was one of those classic, hey, he's the oldest one, so he took really a lot of the brunt of it. I was the most liked, but witnessed a lot of that. And so that's what I mean, and having to deal with that emotionally.
As a young man.
That was the toughest part.
Okay. Was there a conflict between your stepdad and your brother that caused your brother to go in, or just?
He was just really a terrible guy.
Okay.
Really
Talking about your stepdad.
Yeah, my stepdad.
Yeah.
He was just a terrible guy. He put my brother out at 12 years old.
Oh, put him out into the street.
In the street.
Like wow. Mm-hmm. So your brother is fending for himself.
And ultimately, all of us.
Okay.
Ultimately, all of us. Like I've slept in car. I slept in a car. Been homeless like that for a couple of days.
How old were you?
When I did that, I was 16.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I've had great support. One of the guys, my closest friend in the world, John Joseph Jr. He's in the Seattle area right now, trying to relocate back to Houston.
Yeah.
His parents, Mama Joseph and Don, they really took me in a lot.
Okay.
And I had a mechanic. I love Mustang cars, so I used to work on cars, man.
Yeah.
And one of my mechanic, I stayed in the back of his shop for about a year, also. So it was just that type of thing, that type of challenges I had.
Just nothing consistent.
Nah.
Everything's up in the air, uncertain.
And the brokenness of a family.
Yeah.
It wasn't until my mom was away from him. I went off to school. And I came back and I was like, wow. I remember going to my mom's apartment. It was a feeling I hadn't felt. And it was just like we were like a family. Cause we were it was a classic divide and conquer deal with him.
Oh, wow. And how old were you when you had the positive feeling?
Probably 21.
So very late in life.
Yeah.
Where you finally felt like family.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Where we didn't have to deal with this dissension or it was constant pressure. Like we were so nervous every time I heard his truck. Like I would get nervous, like just so nervous,
just anxious and uptight because unpredictable.
Yeah, very unpredictable.
Unstable.
Just walk in and find
that's pretty,
something on the wall and say I did it and beat you
up.
Yeah,
that's pretty traumatic, man.
Yeah.
That's very.
That's
traumatic.
why I say I have to acknowledge it. Especially for the viewers, I have to acknowledge it that it's that it is what it is, but it's just something you I think you get accustomed to, you dealt with, and now here it is, and I mean that wholeheartedly. Like you still realize you're still very, very, very blessed. Mm-hmm. One, we could have been killed easily.
Yeah.
There was a lot of threats about that, but we could have been killed. And in spite of all the bad things that happened, we still, we made it through. So my sister and I are very, very close.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to get my brother on all because there's three of us.
Okay. And wow, I didn't know that. That's pretty shocking to me. So part of your intro though is then you also talked about these qualities about yourself, strength of character, staying focused, these kind of things. When did that come through? Because you're dealing with all this turmoil and instability.
Don't get me wrong.
You know what I'm saying?
The focus part, I want to be transparent. I didn't excel at school at all. I made Fs. I was always, the irony about that is I was always tested very well. Looking back on it, I can realize I was always bored.
Okay.
So I always tested very well. I was in, AP classes, all of this all the time.
Okay.
But school was just the most boring thing in the world to me. I think that looking back on it, I can say it just wasn't challenging. Yeah. So when you use that word focus, I don't want to mislead you or the audience. Yeah. Oh, I was
all over the place.
So not focused.
Yeah,
but
just
when I chose to focus, whatever I focused on, I was amazing at.
Okay, got it.
It was one of those things.
Got it. And so I, like I said, that's your history is very relatable to an audience, because I'm sure many of you all out there grew up in kind of an unstable situation, just like Casey has. How do you find the things to focus on?
For me,
Looking back, like,
Looking back, for me?
because I picture you're evolving out of the instability, honing in on sports, then you get to go to college.
I think it was just the grace of God, and that really kind of protected me. And it's just something, to be honest with you. Like, I'm a very competitive person. I was born with probably a super high competitive spirit.
Yeah.
But also, likewise, a very happy-go-lucky spirit. Like, I'm the biggest kid. Like, you got some people that know me in a competitive sense, like very, very intense.
Yeah.
And other people know me as the guy who really just plays and gonna find the good in almost in everything.
Yeah, I've seen you stare into
Very
some souls,
optimistic.
bro. Like,
Oh yeah.
so,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So if you ever come across Casey, like, you might want to look away sometime, because he'll stare you right into your soul and kind of rip it out. Especially if you mess up. So I've seen it happen. But then where do you find this positive disposition in a youth of turmoil, anxiety, fear, instability? Like, where do you find the
Perspective?
Is it a reaction, or is it a defense mechanism? Like,
Yeah.
or is it like a trained behavior, or did you just always have it?
I just think I've always had it. I grew up with it, but then when I became more conscious of it, it's literally a choice.
Yeah.
And the choice is all day, every day. It's like you're driving in a car and someone cuts you off and they shoot you the finger or something. Oh, well, you can get upset or you can just keep driving.
Yeah.
And one of my mentors, he told me there's two ways to look at things: small picture and big picture. Well, in the big picture, in the grand scheme of life, like I started the show off with, I'm so blessed.
Yeah.
Still to this day, I'm so blessed. And there's so many people in our audience I know who's out there and like they had it worse than me.
Yeah.
So who am I to complain?
Yeah.
And so I could have not been here. So I have a chance. Every day you have a chance, but you also have a choice.
Yeah.
And I
like
try
that.
to make the choice to be positive.
You have a chance to make
You
a
can
choice.
always be positive.
Yeah.
And I think, externally we can't control, well, we can influence what happens to us to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But things are gonna happen.
Yeah.
If it's raining outside and I get wet, I can get pissed off about it and get upset. What's that gonna do? So I want to spend my moments, I want to spend my days, my hours, my minutes, and my moments in the most positive, most grateful state that I can have. And that don't mean I don't have my moments, but I try to not to let my moments turn into minutes. Mm-hmm. And I turn my minutes turn into hours.
Yeah.
Where hours definitely not turn into days. And I'm not gonna go a day.
Yeah.
I'm having a bad day. No way possible. I would be on the basketball court and I was so intense in everything, little thing, I wasn't being a good teammate. I would kind of blow it up. And one of the things was probably me having to come to the realization that, like my mama say, your much may not be someone else's much, or my one may be someone else's 10, or they 10 may be my one, or their one may be my 10.
Yeah.
It varies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It varies. It's all relative.
Yeah.
So it took, and I'll give you an example of that. I remember I used to be in exceptional shape, and everything, little thing mattered to me in basketball. So I used to always complain about some of my teammates not giving max effort. Well,
Mamba mentality, man.
that's it.
Yeah.
And it took me to break my foot one time, and I was coming back from a broken foot, and I felt something I had not felt before, and it was fatigue.
Huh.
And I was like, this must be how they felt. So they couldn't do what I could do.
Got it.
At the level I could do it and sustain it like I could.
Got it.
So it took, but I honestly didn't realize that until I broke my foot and I was coming back from that. And that opened my eyes up a lot to be more understanding to like, okay, they are giving their best, and it gave me a lot to start providing empathy and meet them where they are. And I don't mean that in a condescending way, but but use them just for what their strengths are, and understanding, hey, everyone is not gonna be able to produce or and sustain it like myself.
Like you can. So that's a high level of maturity. That's a very mature thing, because it applies in the real world in business too. And we're going to move to that. But meeting people where they are, and I'm sure that's a lot in business development and sales. Meet the customer where they are, man. Right?
So that segue. I played ball. I had an ex-girlfriend. She told me basketball is life. She gave me a shirt. Said basketball is life. Everything else is details. And
that was ball is life before ball is life.
That's it. For real.
Yeah.
And that was my life.
Yeah.
It was just basketball.
Yeah.
So as you grow, you mature, you say, okay, these hoop dreams, man. Hey, what you gonna do? So I didn't play professionally, so I'm like, okay. I transitioned into the business aspect.
So you go to college, play hoops in college.
Yeah. And then after that, I come home and I still heavy into basketball. Basketball is all that matters to me.
Yeah. Okay.
So I ended up being one of the top fitness trainers in Houston for many years. I ended up being one of the top fitness trainers.
Training pros.
No. Just training.
Just fitness.
Fitness trainer.
Okay.
Yeah, not basketball trainers, fitness trainer. And doing 13, 14-hour days with that, being up, starting at 4:30 in the morning with my first client and going, by 11 a.m., then I would break, get my workout in, play a little ball, whatever, pick back up about 2, all day, every day. And so from there, I'm like, okay. And I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead. And I started a staffing company.
Okay.
Had an ex then who happened to be an attorney. And I had a lot of clients who were attorneys. So I ended up as a natural transition. So I started doing legal staffing.
Okay.
And I could release for that. So it started that. I would come home from, the reason I started that because we would do IT. I would come home from college, and I worked with my sister in an IT company for a while during the .com era, right?
Yeah.
And so that got me into the staffing. But then naturally, because of my connections, I said, I'm gonna do legal staffing. Did that and was successful with that. Well, pretty successful with that. But then the recession hit.
Okay.
That got me.
You're talking about the 2008.
2008.
The housing market. Okay.
But I wasn't even smart enough to know it was a recession.
Yeah.
Going inward, I'm thinking, okay, I just got to pick up. I'm not looking at the market, whatever. I saw it a little bit, but I'm like, oh no, I just got to.
You got to try hard.
I just got to try harder. So let me get outside of Texas and start going. So I started expanding, going out to California, Palo Alto to be exact, IP, and then another New York, a couple commercial lit firms up there, and still was doing well, but man, it just dried up. But when I started, I had done pretty well, so I was able to ride out. But around this time, my sister had a company. My mom started saying, okay, why don't you guys, do something together? And that's when we decided to get together and whatever, and I joined her.
Yeah.
And so we come in, and I've been a straight commission, 100% commission ever since. And I wouldn't have it no other way. My number one primary job is to bring in money to the company. So the intensity, the focus that I had on the basketball court, it just transitions now into the business aspect.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good, man. That's crazy. So let's unpack that just a little bit, okay? Play hoops. You're dogging on everybody.
Yeah.
Some success. Come out, fitness trainer. Why not go pro? Didn't think about it, or?
Thank you for bringing that up. Playing with pros or whatever, it's just one of those things, and it's just one of those things where I think because I had started so late, in the back of my mind, I love the game so much. However, I was thinking I was always behind the 8 ball, and it's a weird deal because I would literally chase competition. I would chase competition until the end of the earth.
Yeah.
But to go pro, I can realize now, deep down, it wasn't something I believe could happen for me. So therefore, I never pursued it. So even though I was playing with the guys, I personally I can say I honestly never pursued it.
Because you limited, you subconsciously limited yourself.
And thank you. It's not just coincidence I never pursued it. Deep down, I didn't believe it could really, truly, truly happen for me. Okay. And as we were talking, and I remember talking to Nate, belief is like a thermostat that regulates what you do. So I didn't pursue it because, like you said, subconsciously, there had to be a tad bit of doubt in there. And
so your thermostat was set at I'm not good to play pro.
And I was content there. Even though if a pro walked in, I would run at him.
Yeah.
All day,
Yeah.
That was. And so that's why that would be the reason.
So the lesson here is you can only go so far as you believe you are.
As you believe you are. Yeah. So
that's incredible, man.
And it comes back to, what are we pursuing?
That's incredible. And I got goosebumps, bro.
Yeah. What are we pursuing? And I'm happy to have the outlet with the league so if I see other individuals who are in a position like myself, or in a position where, frankly, they're playing overseas, but they can get in the NBA. Mm-hmm. So y'all have all kinds of limitations on different levels. Or you're in the NBA, but hey, you can be an all-star. You're an all-star, you can be a Hall of Famer.
And you're fine. Yeah. And so you're finding this is that people, they are either consciously or subconsciously defining themselves as, I'm not an all-star. So they only play to the level of,
that's it,
not an all-star.
That's it. Because human beings have to be who they are. If you say you are not an all-star, you're not going to go out and perform like an all-star.
So that also is I think is a skill. Belief is a skill that people don't really know how to hone in on.
Yeah.
In my experience, because
I can see that.
As a lot of it is wrapped into experience and perspective. It's like you talking about your basketball and you're going at 100 where your 100 is somebody, well, let's put it this way. You're going at 90, but your 90 is somebody else's 100.
100. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So you didn't have that perspective, or they didn't have that perspective in order to believe they can go to your 90 or above your 90.
Yes.
So without that perspective, you can't have that belief.
No.
Right?
No.
Or the relativity, you can't have that belief. Right? So in other words, your relativity was, man, I'm starting late in basketball. So there's no way I can become a pro. Subconsciously.
Exactly.
Subconsciously.
Or they're not gonna choose me because it just feeds. So you
create excuses for yourself to even not believe more.
There it is.
Got it.
And now that
whether it's true or not,
whether it's true or not,
it's in your head.
Your story.
That's your
and that becomes your story.
That's crazy.
So your state of mind gonna always create your story, and it's also gonna dictate your strategy.
How your
strategy being your plan.
Yes.
So why would I develop a plan when my story is they're not going to choose me anyway?
Yeah. Huh.
That's
gold, man.
Yeah.
That's gold.
Yeah. And so it really is, which is our foundation, the No Excuses Foundation, is really eradicating that mindset that we just touched on.
That's crazy.
That's
good. That's good. So we're going to go right to that in a minute. I want to get to your professional life because I know there's a lot going on with No Excuses, and I really want the audience to absorb what No Excuses is about because I think it's such a good thing. You learn these lessons in basketball, you apply it as an entrepreneur, right? You mentioned that. Did you ever hey, I'm going to be an entrepreneur? Or you just kind of moved where your life took you?
Very good question. Since I was young,
by the way, I think you could have played pro, bro.
I could.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you talk about, like you say, moving through life or whatever, I'll go back and refresh my memory. What you said again?
It was. Did you say I'm going to be an entrepreneur, or was it just, hey, here's an opportunity?
No, so that's what I'm saying. I want to go back to I was a young kid.
Yeah.
I was always the organizer or a leader. I can remember being 4 years old, and we were living on St. Augustine before we moved to the Northeast side. And my cousin and I was the one always getting everyone together to play football or to do anything. Always.
So you were that force.
I was
that pulled things together.
And I moved to the new neighborhood. I was organizing the neighborhood Olympics. I was organizing us to get the team going to play another neighborhood in baseball. I mean,
Just natural
when
leadership.
I was in school, I was still organizing guys here to play in tournaments from Nashville, Tennessee. This was before cell phones. And
Wow.
so as a result, then I get my own team, and I remember starting my own team, this and that, what have you. But you know,
So no wonder school was boring for
and
you.
so
'Cause school, no, honestly, school is about conformity, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
as a leader, you don't want to conform.
Yes.
I don't want to conform.
yes,
Right?
yes,
So probably why it explains a lot. So then as a adult entrepreneur, you're saying, man, I can't be in a 9-to-5 cubicle. I need to go out there. Like what?
yeah. I tried that, and I think I did pretty good. I was counseling kids for. I tried that. This is out the school, and I would do my work, and I would want to go outside on a beautiful day, and they didn't want me. They wanted me sitting at my desk, and that was the conflict.
Yeah.
That was the conflict.
You
I'm like, my
can't
work is
conform.
done.
You can't conform, man.
Yeah. So I was out of line for sure. You know what I mean?
But to their regulations.
To their regulations.
But one thing I've discovered is that people that have natural leadership characteristics or qualities, you can't confine them to anything.
Yeah.
Because leadership requires you
Too
to
restrictive.
leadership requires you to think outside.
The box.
So you have a set road of rules in a box. Your leaders can't sit in it because they're constantly where can I do more? Where can I, put in extra? Where can I be more efficient? And that requires you to get outside the lines.
Yes, and then
right?
sometimes those things are spontaneous.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Hey,
I see that. Yeah,
do this.
Yeah,
we should
exactly.
be doing this, and we should have adjusted it. Yes.
Right. So leadership's inherently can't be. I was recruited to work in a law firm out of law school, 6 figures, big bonus, and I turned it down. Because I could not see myself in a cubicle.
Yeah.
Just writing briefs for somebody else. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'd rather bet on myself. For what? I'd rather bet on myself.
Makes sense.
Money was phenomenal, but I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
So I completely understand. I hope the audience understands that. In certain degrees, it's inherent, but it can also be learned. It's a skill set, and I think it's a skill set to start opening your perspective.
Yeah. No doubt.
To get into these opportunities. So and also being adaptive, right?
Yes.
Economy hits, you go to Palo Alto, intellectual property lawyers.
Yes.
Now, M&A lawyers out of New York. Okay.
Yeah.
You apply. You always. What I like to say it is like I explained it to Nate. Let's say you got a block of granite this big. Mm-hmm. And you have a chisel and a hammer. And you can pound the hammer and the chisel in the same spot every single day, 1,000 times. And you won't even see the rock move. You won't even see the granite move. But and then one day, pop, boom, the whole thing cracks. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that is, it goes all into your background, man, which is the belief, the focus, the consistency, to just keep hammering at it until it breaks, right? And finding opportunities, right?
Yeah. And having a heart of gratitude.
Yeah.
I can't, I failed to mention that over and over again. I have a heart of gratitude.
Yeah.
So everything may not be exactly the way you want it, but you still should be grateful for the way it is.
Yeah, I like that. My first episode on this podcast was about gratitude.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's the one thing. That's the one thing that you can always control.
Absolutely.
And here's the other thing: it puts you in the right mindset.
Yeah.
Because the science shows you cannot be angry and grateful at the same time. You can't have a negative vibration and be grateful at the same time. You just can't.
No.
It's impossible.
No.
Yeah, it's impossible. So gratitude is a must for success, I think. So let's move real quickly on. So now you're vice president of business development, national accounts for 14 years. Mm-hmm. Talk about that position. What drives that success? Sort of what, how are you able to manage these national accounts?
Easy to do. What drives it, I say right off the top, is like what we touched on, the belief. Mm-hmm. Why not us?
Yeah.
We're a smaller company.
Okay.
We're a smaller company. I know you said in the intro we were a large company. No, we're a smaller company.
Even better.
But like I say, we used to make small look big. And like I tell my customers that we approach, if you have a block or the perception that we can't, say, handle the load or do as good a job as, say, for example, one of these conglomerates, then I'll tell you two things. Let's talk about that up front before we get into it, one. And I want to earn your business. We're a small company, but I don't want you to give us anything. Just like with basketball, don't give me anything.
Come at me hard as you can.
Hard as you can.
Yeah.
We will perform. Our job is to execute. My job is to make your job easier. So communicate to them that we understand their challenges. Got to get to know the company and understand and really, really get a feel for what their culture is and what's important to them. And then our job then is to come in and add value, period.
Yeah.
No excuses.
Yeah.
That's it. It's business. And so we have to execute. And so what drives me is really the belief that we can do that. And again, loving the challenge at doing so. And then also having the knowledge that every single conglomerate out there started where we were.
Yeah.
So why not us?
Yeah.
And I'll ask the audience, whatever it is that you're approaching, why not you?
Yeah.
So if you see someone singing, you see someone in sports, you see someone climbing up the corporate ladder, why not you? You see someone entrepreneur that's rolled and blew up, why not you?
Yeah.
And so that's the mindset. I believe 150% in competitive choice as a company. But in order to do that, I have to have that belief in myself. And that's what I say, because one can only perform within the confines of how they view themselves conceptually.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I don't have that confidence in myself, how can I go and execute that and speak for the company? It's gonna show. It's gonna show.
The professional BS detector, man. You're gonna smell it. You're gonna sell it. You can see it, right?
That doesn't mean we execute every time, but literally life is you go after something, you're gonna be successful at it, or you're not, but then you're gonna always learn if you got your antennas up. Now immediately you better off in terms you know how to accomplish it better immediately than you did before you were going in, even if you were successful.
Yeah.
Even if so,
so you bring up a very good point. And so, and just to clarify, competitive choice is a national sales of
facility maintenance supplies.
Okay.
Yes.
Chemicals, equipment,
anything plumbing, electrical, HVAC, safety, just a lot of industrial chemical supplies, office supplies, PPE, etc.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good, man. That's good. But it's about the belief, and then the focus that you can succeed, and if you don't fail, but you learn.
Yes.
And you keep going. Okay, so I know that. You know that. Many people, successful people I talk to, I know they know that you must fail to succeed.
Yes.
However, why do you believe most people are afraid to take that first step?
Oh, because
I agree with you. Why not you? It should, instead of why not you, it should be you. But why don't people go after it like that? I don't know. A
couple reasons. It's more. It's not just one answer to that. One of the reasons is when you only know what you know. So if you haven't seen, let's talk about the mile. When someone came and ran a mile under 4 minutes, then everyone else believed it could be done. Then a lot of other people ran under 4.
Yeah. But somebody had to be the first.
Someone had to do the first.
Right.
So if someone else on the other end of the world didn't have the knowledge that it had been broken, then they're still thinking this is not attainable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
so going back to the perspective of belief.
So that's one reason.
Right.
Seeing it happening can help you to believe it can happen.
Got it.
So if you haven't seen it, so I think a lot of people in various areas, now the internet helps that a lot. I mean, Google and all that, you got to be searching it. But your circle, Your environment impacts that.
Mentors.
It may impacts that, because if we're friends and I see you doing certain things, automatically I'm gonna believe it could happen for me.
Yeah.
Now, if I do not believe it could happen for me, now we're going internal in terms of, maybe I'm not as an individual. We talked about this a little bit, I think with Nate.
Yeah.
How I view myself in terms of as an individual on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
If you are high I, in other words, if you have a positive self-image of perception of yourself, if you're really an 8, 9, 10, then you don't care if you're gonna be more willing to try something and fail at it, because you know it doesn't define you.
Yeah.
But if you are low I and you don't have a very much of a positive,
Self-esteem,
view of yourself,
yeah.
your self-esteem low, that you're not going to go out and take a lot of risk, because you can't take that hit. If you fail at it, you're going to feel really bad.
You're going to define yourself by the failure.
Because you're going to define yourself by the failure. So you have to always understand to separate who you are versus what you do. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm Casey Williams. If we go out and play pickleball right now and you beat me, I don't have to beat myself up about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm still a good guy. I believe that I'm a solid guy. You know what I mean?
Inherently.
That doesn't necessarily inherently define, that doesn't make me a failure just because I didn't win that pickleball.
Got it.
You with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. So your definition of yourself is through your own standards.
Your standards.
And
there
how
you
you carry yourself and what standards you live by. So if you have high standards for yourself, you can go out and do anything, fail at it, and know that your standards will uphold you.
Yep.
Will stay the same.
Yep. And
right?
the belief that, okay, I didn't accomplish it right now. Is this something I really want to do? I know I'm going to accomplish it, just a matter of when. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. I just got to keep at it. You got to keep hammering that granite until it cracks.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
And so now your whole approach is different.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I don't think it's just one single answer to that question. It's just a couple different factors.
Yeah, man. Audience, this is pure gold, bro. Like this stuff you don't get. I mean, you don't get this in school. You don't get this in school.
No, you don't.
This is a lifetime experience coming through from Casey here. So, competitive choice, and then you move on. You're still in it, but then No Excuses Foundation. Talk to me about how that started.
That started because my brother, who I mentioned earlier, who has been in jail for a long time, his son, my nephew, Rakeem, who actually is an artist, goes by the name of Rocky Banks, very popular artist locally here. And he was coming up through school in elementary, and he was literally coming up with all these excuses, he and his sister, about making bad grades. And I literally drew up a contract saying, and had them to sign it saying they will not make excuses anymore. So at the time, I think he wasn't at Bel Air, he was at Maryland Middle School back then. And we made some adjustments to the contract or what have you, and I put it in a file. And I would pull it out every time they were making excuses, try to eliminate their mindset from that. And then so years later when I'm training kids in basketball and doing a lot, I'm like, man, these kids make a lot of excuses. And I said, I need to start it. There it is.
Yeah.
So I started thinking of a name, and I was like, there it is.
It is. No excuses.
No excuses.
I like that.
There it is.
I like
so that's how it came about. And so our whole mission is really to eradicate the excuse-making mentality that often plagues disadvantaged youth. So we say you can do whatever you want in life, but you can't make
excuses
and do it.
I love that. I love that, man.
Yeah, so that's it in a nutshell.
I love that, because I think making excuses goes back to the standard that you live by.
Absolutely. No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't have a high self-esteem, you're going to make excuses.
No doubt. No doubt. So
Right?
for everyone out there, if you want to improve your behavior, raise your standards.
Yeah.
Raise your standards. Raise your standards, and then your behavior will improve. If your standards are here, no way you're going to change your behavior, because there's no requirement to do so.
And you make excuses.
Yeah, you're gonna make excuses to stay
That's
right here.
awesome, man. And so no excuses. You provide education.
We provide educational scholarships. We do mentorship, obviously.
Okay.
It's part of our basketball trainings.
Yeah.
But we do scholarships, not just educational scholarships, but we also the arts.
Oh, good.
So we have an arts focus. So our fashion shows, we'll invite you out to that. As a matter of fact, we just had one at the Toyota Center.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we have another one in August. So we want to tie in. We want to encourage those and use the arts. We want to use sports as a capturing tool.
Okay.
And then we have a focus.
That's the common ground for everybody. Got it.
Then we have a focus, like I say, with education, but then also not just with education. We also have, if you a military aspect. You know,
talk about that.
Oh, well, armed forces. My brother-in-law is a 20-year Marine vet.
Oh, thank you for him for his service.
Yeah, Richard Young.
Yeah,
and is doing extremely well in his company, RJY Group, is also. Okay. And so, what we want to do is encourage, because every kid may not want to go to school.
Yeah.
So we try to create a pathway. So you have different options, and that's what No Excuse is really about. Okay, you don't want to go to school? Armed Forces, educate you on that.
Yeah.
And maybe when you come out the Armed Forces, you can get your school paid for.
Got it.
Educate them on
and
that.
Other benefits.
Get a skill, all the benefits of it, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. A lot of companies hire the military because they know they have a certain mindset.
Yep.
And a certain discipline. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So where would the audience find information on the foundation, No Excuses Foundation?
NoExcusesFoundation.org or go to No Excuses Foundation on Instagram at No Excuses Foundation.
Okay.
On Instagram. So on our social media, and then that's the best way. We love it. We had our page hacked. But we rebuilt it now, and so we would love it if you guys just take a look. And we do a bunch of things. We have a STEM component as well as a STREAM component because of the arts.
Okay, so STEM is educational, science, technology.
Yeah, engineering and math.
Okay.
Yeah, because if I walk up to a kid about, hey, you want to learn about physics? No, but we try to capture them, like I say, with the sports.
Got it.
And then show them how it's relative to the game of basketball through analytics, by the ball, the force of the ball,
angle,
and
trajectory, all that.
All of that.
Okay, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And this is you and your
me
wife.
and my wife Jillian Williams.
Okay, and you have a whole staff and volunteers.
My little cousin Andre plays a huge role in it.
Okay.
My nephew helps out somewhat.
Okay. And you take it's a 501c3 registered.
501c3 registered.
So you take donations, contributions, time, everything.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic mission, man.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic mission.
We need, we want to do more. That's one, to be frank with you, one of the most disappointing things about it, just you want to do more.
Yeah.
But we do a Christmas giveaway every year. Mm-hmm. We feed families every year for Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. We pay the seniors, we do rental assistance programs. We do seniors.
For senior citizens.
For senior citizens,
okay.
Yeah. And so we work with the Housing Authority, we work with HISD, work with Parks and Rec to identify those in need.
Kudos to you, man, making a huge impact to the community, dude.
Yeah, still feel like we want to do more, though, to be honest with you. I gotta chill on that, really, because I'm about to be like, what you talking about? This stuff costs. So anyone who want to help, we'd be grateful for that.
For you high schoolers need volunteer hours, come on through.
Volunteer, please come out.
That's fantastic. And if you're local to the Houston area, it's noexcusesfoundation.org or No Excuses Foundation on Instagram.
Yes.
Now that has translated to the No Excuses Pro League.
Yep.
You being the commissioner. Man, what don't you do, man? NEPL. So the NEPLs I'm excited about because their opening season is this coming weekend, Father's Day weekend, opening season.
No. Actually, June 11th.
Oh, June 11th. I'm sorry. I'm a week ahead.
Right.
I'm a week ahead.
So this Sunday, we're actually June 11th. We open up at the Fundy Recreation Center, 110 Sabine Street, Houston, Texas 77007. Is the address.
Fondy, Fonde, Fondy Center.
Yeah.
Okay. Old historical basketball court in Houston. All the greats out of Houston played there. Even outside of Houston came to play. The pro, talking about pro.
So
Hakeem
major
Olajuwon, Moses Malone, all that stuff.
Got word that Daniel House will be playing this week. Montrezl Harrell will be in the house from Philadelphia, actually.
Oh, yeah.
76ers. Those two, we got confirmations on them, NBA players. So you guys come out. But more than NBA players, we got a ton of the college guys, kids from U of H, participating Rice, St. Thomas University on the men and women's side. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the women, the NEPLW or the women's division. And they're playing too, and got a bunch of professionals and kids from University of Houston as well.
So we're jumping a lot, man, because let's get into this real quick. So you obviously still have the love of basketball.
Tremendously.
And the NEPL has been around 8. This is the 8th season?
This is the 8th season.
Okay. And just in disclosure, we're sponsors of the league.
Yes.
Nonprofit as well.
Yes.
How did it all start? You know, because I know your background. I know you've gone up against pro players and took them to school and all these things. And Sam Cassell, I'm not going to say you took Sam Cassell to school, but you've played against quality so NBA champions. So, like, how did this all start, and where are you taking this?
Well, if you go to another page will be at NEPL Hoops. NEPL Hoops, if y'all can see that.
No Excuses Pro League.
Or
NEPL
if you just want to go to the website, which is HoustonProAm.com.
HoustonProAm.com.
Yes.
All one word.
The Houston Pro-Am predates No Excuses.
Okay.
The Houston Pro-Am has been around for a long time. So I used to actually participate in it as a player.
Okay.
Then I moved on and started coaching in it.
Okay.
At the urging of a couple of players, it was really, really, really big. You had like 40 plus NBA players participating in one season.
Oh, wow.
So you have 7, 8 players on one team, NBA players on one team. And so being a member of the league for a while, and then watching it fall off, the guys who were running it previously, you know, Kevin Granger, who's now the athletic director at Texas Southern University, they decided to take that job and just kind of let it just go. So it was idle. We didn't even have it a year. Then it was like, wow. Then another guy picked it up, and he, you know, it was first years old. He didn't handle it well, and so people started coming at me saying, "Man, what are we doing?"
Just that organizer leadership again, man.
Yeah, and then so naturally, I'm like, okay, let's see. I was content just having my team.
Yeah,
but naturally, I think, like you said, just saw there was a need for something, and went and had a conversation with John Lucas, who was the assistant coach.
Hall of Famer out of Rockets. Yep.
And we chatted a little bit, and then so that's how I ended up basically getting it. And so what we do is partner with the city, and I'm responsible for it. And now that we're in it, you want to do it as best it can be done.
Of course. Why do it any less,
that's
right?
the way we're wired, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how we ended up basically handling it. So the goal is to really provide a safe, competitive environment for professionals to come in and work on their craft, and at the same time putting on a show for the community, which is a free event. And so
that blew me away when you told me it's a free event.
I mean, people on our team.
Yeah. But like, you go to an NBA game these days, that's $200 for the night. You're going to watch NBA guys play.
That's the hard part.
Of course. Yeah. Well, you know, it's free, maybe only temporary. Who knows? But for now, it's a free event. It plays three days a week.
Yeah, 3 days a week, every Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. So the first game is this Sunday on the 11th. And then the first game will be at 12 noon.
12 noon.
We got 8 games on Sunday, 12. The last game is going to start about 8:15 that night, at Sunday night. On Thursdays and Fridays, the first game starts at 6:30.
Okay.
And we have 4 games on Thursdays, 4 games on Friday, 8 games on Sunday.
And so that's a lot of entertainment value. And you have a dance squad that supports young dancers in the community.
Absolutely.
Also nonprofit.
Yes.
So they're like halftime entertainment. Like it's really, really a great community event.
It is.
And this runs all the way from June 11th till
August 18th.
Which is the championship. Is August 18th. The NEPL Hoops, not the NEPL Hoops on Instagram or HoustonProAm.com. And that's where you could find the schedule.
Schedule
is on the website.
And other content about the league.
Okay. And you're the commissioner. You make the rules. You eject players.
Oh yeah.
No excuses, right?
We had a meeting the other day. The referees, who are NBA, got 3 NBA referees, by the way. They do a great job of handling that. But they get out of line a little bit. You have to make that call. You don't want to, but you have to make that call.
Yeah. That's a great thing, man. And so something like this, is this just a Houston thing, or do you have visions? What do you have?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. So we are the official Houston Pro-Am. We helped a guy organize a league in Dallas, which we'll be playing them. They'll bring their team to Houston, to Dallas.
Oh wow!
To play us. They'll bring their league, their top players from their league, to play for hours in August. That's the weekend. That's the week after.
Like an all-star game.
Yeah. And we'll start doing that at home and home away. But they got them in L.A., the Drew. Atlanta, the ABEBL, the AEBL, the Dykeman in New York, the Gersh in New York. By No Rucker in New York, they have 3. The Rump in Philadelphia.
So is this something you think that next level up, where leagues can play other leagues?
Yeah, that's already in the making.
That's exciting.
That's already in the making.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So you got this love of basketball, love of business.
This passion is really about life
okay.
and growing. And like I said earlier, just life and growth.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, and I'll be frank with you, helping people.
That's what it's about, providing value for other people.
Yeah.
I found that if you do that, life is
rewarding.
good. It's very rewarding. Life is good when you just focus on value for other people.
Yeah.
Let me run this down again so people can find you where they need you. NoExcusesFoundation.org.
The nonprofit is the NoExcusesFoundation.org.
Okay.
That's the website. And on Instagram, on social media, is No Excuses Foundation.
Okay. NEPL Hoops on Instagram.
Yeah, at NEPL Hoops on Instagram. Please follow us there. All right, the HoustonProAm.com is the website.
Okay, and if you are a large company out there, or you're a client that Competitive Choice can serve you, please give Competitive Choice a chance.
Yes.
And how can they find Competitive Choice? These companies, like, what is your ideal client, or what is your client base for Competitive Choice?
Literally, we do business with Exxon, Shell, cities, all the municipalities, hotels, school districts. If you are any type of company and you have a building that needs service on the facility maintenance side, we can help you. And we love to have the opportunity to do so. You can go to that website, which is www.competitivechoice.net. That's www.competitivechoice.net.
Or an email address to get to you?
Oh, email address.
Yeah, because you're the business development guy, right?
So Casey at competitivechoice.net. That's CASEY.
CASEY.
Yes, CASEY at competitivechoice.net.
Listeners out there, if you're looking for this kind of service, you can see why I like this guy so much with the shared values we have, man. Give him a shot. I know he will not let you down.
No doubt.
He will no excuses what it's all about, man.
We love to have the opportunity.
Last words for the audience, man. This is about success, about life, about what the audience can take home from you.
Just remember, most people say they cannot control their feelings. So anytime you find yourself down or not feeling so good, go back to what you're thinking. What's the recording in your head? I have a saying, do good, feel good. Do good, feel good. And if you want to really, really make yourself feel better, Nan and I just discussed it, go do something for someone else. It's hard to have a pity party when you're doing and you're serving and doing something for someone else. But don't neglect yourself. Be good to yourself first, and then also be good to others.
Man, I love it, dude. Pure gold in this episode, man. I'm gonna have to rewatch this one and just pick out the things that you said. You need to write a book or something, man. This is pure gold, man. Pure gold. Casey,
thank you for having me.
What a pleasure to have you, man.
It's fun, man.
Really. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I know season opener is this Sunday.
Yes.
So this guy's a busy man. He's like, how long is this gonna take? I'm gonna try to be brief.
No. I look forward to coming back too.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime, man. Anytime. You're more than welcome to come back. Sure, you want to just have a co-host, man. Come on, a guest co-host. But as with everybody that's on a guest on a show, man.
Appreciate that.
I don't know if you were a hat guy.
Yeah,
but,
there's
yours, bro. But thank you so much for coming on the show. I know the audience definitely learned something from you.
Yeah.
Out of this episode. So Casey Williams, competitivechoice.net, noexcusesfoundation.org, NEPL hoops. Come out and watch these pro, semi-pro, international pro players play. It's free. It's free. So if you're looking for something to do on a Sunday afternoon, right here on Allen Parkway along the bayou, a lot of parks around nearby, please come out and support. Man, so much value in this one I got to unpack, bro. But thank you all, the audience. And as I say, and I definitely know you got value in this, if your knowledge swole, share the show. That's how we grow. Man, be great today. Be even more grateful for everything that you have. Dr. Unwin, the host, my man Casey Williams. Until the next time, thank you for listening and watching.